going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast. We got the boys. We got Cease. We got Opal. Sage had to have his annual pap smear today, so he will unfortunately not be joining us. And before you get in the comments, yes, I do know what a pap smear is. So sorry to air your business, Sage. Cease, how we doing over there, bucko?
Doing all right. Late per usual.
Yeah, hey, that's all right.
Hey, we're ready to roll.
We're here. That's all that matters. And we got Opal. How you doing over there, boss?
I'm doing pretty good as well. I was actually late as well today.
Yeah,
so
a little bit. A couple late boys.
It's not as late.
No,
yeah,
still beat Chiefs though, so I'm on time.
Right. Well, Colin had to step up once, so you got to step up next time,
exactly.
apparently.
Yeah.
All right, last week. Rough week of picks, but also not bad, but not great.
Yeah.
Colin, week winner. Colin, you may not be the first one to 100 losses. And if you had told me that 3 weeks ago, I'd have been like, no shot.
Who's in contention?
I mean, everybody. Me and Sage are probably safest, because Sage would have to lose 12, and I'd have to lose 11 to get to 100 this week. But Addison and Bobby are at 93 losses and 94 losses, and you're at 98, respectively. I mean, we could have 300 lost fellas after this week. Jeez.
No, not quite.
Not happening. Not happening. Last week, 8-4, 1 year, 88, 98, 4. 10 games under 500 now.
Hey,
greatest comeback story of all
comeback
time.
Ever. We got what, 5 weeks, 6 weeks?
And you're 10
ago?
games back of me and Sage. That's it. Ooh. Anybody can do anything.
So I'm within 10.
Yeah, you're within 6. Addison, 92, 94, and 4. Sage in first, reclaimed it by a game. He's 98, 88, and 4. I am 97, 89, and 4, and Bobby's 92, 93, and 4.
This is getting close, baby.
It's getting tight at the top.
Damn close.
Nobody's doing horrible right now. It's great. Mortal Locks last week. I think we only had 2 hits, 1 push, and then 2 losses. Me and Sage both hit. The under in Jets Falcons was unbelievably free.
So free.
Unbelievably free. And then Sage had Detroit, which was sweaty.
Sweaty.
I think they only won by 4 or 5, and he needed them to win by 3.5, and they ended up pulling it out for him, so he stays in there. Bobby had Jacksonville minus 7.5, but that was before we knew that it was the dumbass pick of the week, which once again wins outright. An outright dog, a game where we fucking laughed at you. I was like, I literally said, that is a true dumbass pick of the week. And not only do they cover the 9.5 points, they fucking beat the Jags.
Went outright.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, we're going through the schedule. Sorry, Cease. No. It's just getting game by game. I'm like, when is this guy going to do the dumbass pick of the week? Which one's going
to do it on?
He's saving this shit for the Bengals.
And it's like, there's no way the Bengals are going to fucking cover this without Joe Burrow, with Trevor Lawrence playing, and the Jags being hot. It's one of the biggest spreads of the week for a reason. And Colin says, you keep the fucking points. They're going to win this game.
Honestly, I think the 2 biggest spreads for dumbass picks of the weeks I've given out this year was Texans at Jags was 8 or 8.5, and then it was Bengals at Jags 9.5.
You just don't like those Jags.
Outright winners.
Just don't like those Jags.
Unbelievable. Please stay away from the Dolphins with that. I'm begging.
I don't know. Yeah, I was going to do Eagles as the dumbass pick, so I was like 10-1 Eagles. You're going to give me the 10-1 Eagles for dumbass pick of the week, but then I was like,
you don't want to root for it.
Well, that, and I was going to take the Niners in my pick, so I was like, I can't give a dumbass pick and then take my pick the other side.
Agreed.
And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do Packers for dumbass pick of the week. And then I'm like, it might not be that dumbass.
No.
And so I was like, I got to do the Bengals, which is really, really stupid.
Really dumbass. And it fucking cashes, man.
I might have to start, I'm already sprinkling on the spreads itself.
Yeah.
I might have to start
sprinkling money line.
Yeah, money line, 100%.
It's been damn impressive.
That was what, like plus 270, plus 280?
At least.
Bengals money line?
By
the time the game was starting, it was 9.5 on the spread.
Dude, I saw 10.5. I saw over 10 points.
Oh, my.
When the fourth quarter started and they were down 7.
Uh-huh.
I think that's right when Lawrence was hurt, when they were when they were up 7, they were tied.
Yeah.
When they were down 7, the Bengals in the fourth quarter. I wonder what that money line was like. 500?
Yeah, probably, man.
I mean,
unbelievable that just continues to fucking slap.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through all of our vids because
at one point you were 8-3-1. Now I think you're 9-3-1 now because that's 13 weeks. Yeah, you're 9-3-1 with at least 7 outright winners. Genuinely think it's at least 7 outright winners. We will go back and get the statistics and just truly appreciate the dumbass pick of the week because it has
best segment of the year potentially.
Yeah,
I mean,
without a doubt.
Almost 20 teams in the league with 6 wins. Who's winning each week? And Steve's just pulling it out.
It's
damn impressive.
It is all, and I think they always win outright when you're by yourself too. When you're the only one that took them as a dumbass pick of the week.
That's when I feel the best.
Yeah, that's when they hit.
Because I'm like, okay, that's really dumb.
Nobody else.
Yeah, no one else is.
That's really got to be stupid.
Yeah. One part struggled last week for the first time in several weeks were the locks. 2 and 3. Just a couple of stinkers out of teams. I mean, Pittsburgh losing money line. Come on, man.
Go Cardinals.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. And then Kansas City, Green Bay, the under, it just went over.
Yeah, by like 4 points.
4 points. Yeah, that one was tight.
And then I think we outright.
It was Jags
lost
minus
both.
2.5, Philly plus 8, and they both got shit pumped.
Yep, both got shit pumped.
Yeah, Philly, man. That was ugly. Philly got bitched.
Philly got bitched. I mean,
Good for the Niners.
The bitching has been going on longer than I think some, including me, have been realizing. I mean, I think this is 5 straight games the Philly Eagles have been outgained and lost turnover battle to their opponent.
Yeah.
Shows how impressive it is that they were able to be 4-1 during that stretch.
Win.
But you don't win football games against good teams when it comes down to it. When we talk Chiefs Eagles, it was the Chiefs will make a mistake, have a drop or two.
The drops.
And it's, well, guess what? Just not being as fluent offensively and dominating like you can, Philly. That's the same thing. Yeah. It's not a turnover, but it's going 3 and out, being up 6-0 with the ball and having to punt. And it's like, man, maybe things are different if you guys can go down and score that drive. But instead, things don't go that way. And Debo was able to back up his shit talk.
Yeah, he did, man.
That's impressive, man.
It was very impressive from them. And like, we were watching the game, and Philly, 2 back-to-back red zone drives. And they come away with 6 total points. You cannot do that against San Francisco. They're going to get going.
Yeah.
If they score 2 touchdowns, they're up 14-0. Completely different football game. Obviously, because of the points. Duh. But now Brock Purdy is going to have to be the guy.
Yeah, I know.
He has to step up. He starts having to force something. Instead, it's like, hey, we're a touchdown away from taking the fucking lead here.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're 2 red zone possessions from both being tutties, from being up 14-6 and then running away with the bitch. So it's like, well, that's exactly what they did. And again, it just boils down to those first couple possessions that stalled out pretty deep on the drive, too. I mean, pretty deep in the red zone even. And it's like, well, it's not enough.
Yeah.
You need touchdowns against great teams.
You do. And that's a perfect segue into something I want to do this week. And I'm going to give you guys 3 statements, one at a time, and you're going to tell me if it's an overreaction or not, or appropriate. First one, Brock Purdy's the MVP of the NFL right now. Colin, is that an overreaction to what we've seen, or do you think that's spot on? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a slight overreaction at the moment. I mean, obviously at the moment, everybody's got hindsight 2020.
Right.
Everyone's a little bit, relative to time. Recency bias is what I was looking for there. Early in the morning, fellas. I'm sorry.
Still waking up.
When you look at the MVP, you think who's the most valuable, and it always comes back to a quarterback, which is fair because
it's the hardest position to play.
It's the hardest position to play, and we all see what happens when the starter goes down. Hell, we saw in the NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah.
What happened when Purdy went down? So you can't deny his value to his team, but is he the most valuable on his team?
No, I don't
because
think he is.
When Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel have missed games, they're 0-3. I think that plays into it. I don't think Purdy's missed a game, right? Because he cleared protocol.
Yeah, instantly cleared protocol.
And you look at McCaffrey doing what he's doing. He's up there in the conversation, and he deserves his flowers. But most valuable player, I'm not certain. It's tough for a quarterback because every single quarterback needs weapons in order to succeed.
Yes.
Needs a good offensive line. You're not going to be playing at elite level if you don't have weapons. So just to straight discredit somebody for their weapons, I always hate. But at the same time, you got to wonder. It's like, what do the Niners look like without Deebo? We've seen it. What do the Niners look like with McCaffrey? We haven't seen that.
Right.
He's been very healthy. Good on him.
He's been awesome.
I think it's a slight overreaction, but he should be in the top 5, in my opinion, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. But slight overreaction right now.
Slight overreaction. Addison, what are your thoughts on that? Overreaction, just right? Where are you at?
I think I'm on Steve's side with the slight overreaction as well. I think that conversation will be answered this upcoming week with something that has nothing to do with San Fran, and that's Philly and Dallas. And if Philly loses to Dallas in Dallas and Dak Prescott has another great game,
then he's got to rerun away with it.
I think it's got to be Dak's. And I think that's the only reason. And at the end of the day, it's going to be a quarterback award, which is what it is. The best team's quarterback that is running the system smoothly. Okay, you could convince me if no one else is having an outstanding year, but then I turn around and look at Dak Prescott, and he's having an outstanding year, 26 touchdowns, 6 picks.
6 picks.
I mean, the best touchdown to interception ratio in the league right now. Carrying this Dallas team and an opportunity to win the division and snatch it from the Eagles. A little help from San Fran for sure, but
very nice of them.
Very nice, thank you. You guys beat us, now you've helped us.
Also nice of them to beat the shit out of the Eagles and just show like everyone dogging on Dallas for losing to the Niners in San Francisco 42-10.
Yeah.
Now the Niners go into Philly and win 42-19
and kick ass
and destroy them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, domination.
Yeah, I'm just on the slight overreaction. I could see it, but I just look around the league, a couple other guys. I mean, I'd still have 2 above Purdy.
Yeah.
Because
I would too. Shockingly. People don't really agree with that, but I would.
I would as well. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying any quarterback you could just plug in and play. Trey Lance got kicked out of there for a reason, but it's like if Purdy wasn't able to go, are the Niners completely doomed? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And it's just situations we look around the league. If that goes down, sorry, Cowboys are dead. If Tua goes down.
Dolphins are dead.
Dolphins are dead.
Season's over.
Season's done.
Yep.
And I just don't know if that's the case
For
when
Purdy.
I go to Purdy. So I'm going to go slight overreaction.
I agree. And I've seen a lot of people, I agree with you guys. I think it's an overreaction to have him MVP right now. He is the betting favorite at plus 300 right now. Similar to what you guys have said, like, when you look at most valuable player, you obviously have to be the most valuable player on your team. And Purdy is maybe the 5th most valuable player behind Trent Williams, Debo, McCaffrey, Fred Warner even on the defensive side. You could argue is the captain over there. Like, I don't think he's the most valuable.
Go Blue.
Right, there's a ton of studs on that team. And then you talk about Miami, and people will say, well, Tua has Tyreek. It's like, okay, but we know what the Dolphins look like without Tua and Tyreek. With Tyreek on the field, last year against the Jets, without Tua, Dolphins lost 40-17. Yeah. This year, with Tua on the field, Dolphins won 34-13. Big difference. It's a 70-point swing. I mean, with Tua, we're 9-3 this year, and last year without him, we didn't win. We only won one game without him on the field. That's valuable to your team. Yeah. If Patrick Mahomes goes down, the Chiefs don't win anything this year. No. They're completely dead. But I think Purdy, the thing that knocks him the most is, first of all, and you hate to say it, but draft status. Being Mr. Irrelevant hurts him. Yeah. It does. It just does. It shouldn't, but it does. And also being the not most valuable player on your own team. Yeah. I really think that that's what kills his case at this point in time. Now, he could come out and continue to ball all season and have the stats, and people are going to continue to shit on him and say, product of the system. He's still playing damn good football.
Yeah, he is playing damn good football. He absolutely
deserves to be in the conversation. But I just don't think – I think Dak right now, if the voting was today, I think I'd have to give it to Dak.
Agreed. If Brock Purdy is this good, how close were the 49ers to being terrible? Because they swung and missed, I would say, on Jimmy G at the end of it. Obviously got into the Super Bowl, didn't win.
Right.
But swung and miss, and then Trey Lance, big swing and miss. Trade up, big, bust. Yeah, bad. So if you're Mr. Irrelevant, doesn't pan out to be a good NFL, great NFL, MVP caliber starter in the league, what does this 49ers team look like? I don't think it's dog piss. You know what I mean? I think maybe they would be decent. So it's like, that's, again, just the knock on Purdy right there. So, yeah. And then I just, again, think about it. It's like, how close were the 49ers to being bad?
Right.
So, Nate, you're saying Purdy being drafted where he was hurts his MVP?
Yeah,
I almost think it helps.
You think it helps his MVP?
Because MVP has not only been like a statistical thing, quarterback on the best team who's having the best year, but also I think it's got to be that narrative behind it.
True.
True. So Purdy being, hey, it's Mr. Irrelevant, leading this team back to the
I think that's why people say, though, like, Super Bowl. But he's a product of the system because he was Mr. Irrelevant. I can see that. If he was a first-round pick doing this, they're like, well,
this is what he'd be.
He is that good.
He's getting
elevated. Since he's Mr. Irrelevant, everyone's like, well, he wouldn't do this somewhere else.
Go put him on the Bears and go see what he is.
What does he do?
What does he do on the Bears?
But people aren't going to ask that about Mahomes or Allen. They're like, put him on a bad team, they're still going to shine.
Yeah.
Put Purdy somewhere else, and it's like, what kind of team is that? I think that maybe hurts some people.
I can see that.
But I also agree, like, he's balling out as Mr. Irrelevant. That's crazy. We got to give some product there. I just don't think he should be the betting favorite at this point. He doesn't have – Prescott has more yards, more touchdowns, same number of turnovers. The only difference is that Purdy beat him head-to-head. That's like, is that really the reason?
No, that ain't an MVP.
That should not be what decides MVP.
I was saying, how many of those plays Sunday against Philly did we see that was like
Debo
yards within the right of scrimmage, and then it's Kittle in the flat to the right with nobody.
That is majority of his throws too, and like I'm not even trying to flame Purdy because he does it well, and like you need to do that stuff to be a good quarterback, and that is why he's great. But it's like, again, even when in Cleveland, Moody missed the field goal, but the reason they had an opportunity to win was because Purdy puts the ball in Ayuk's hands quickly, and it's like, no shit, you get the playmakers the ball, but it's like Shanahan does that to such a good level.
Yes.
Maybe it is the system. That's why people say it, because you look at it and go, damn, like that's what he does. Yep. But still, he's doing it at such a high level. He's got to at least be in the convo. I'm all right with that.
But he should not be the betting favorite.
There's no way to me Brock Purdy is the MVP of the NFL.
I agree. Next, overreaction potentially for you boys. The Green Bay Packers are going to win the NFC North. Ooh. And let me tell you why. 3-game winning streak with wins over the Chargers, but wins over Kansas City and Detroit. Their next 5 games, their last 5 games, Giants, Bucks, Panthers, Vikings, Bears. They might win all 5. They might win all 5 of those.
They might.
They're 6-6 right now.
On a 7-game win.
On a 7-game win streak, they're 6-6. Detroit would have to fall off a touch, but Detroit hasn't looked like Detroit recently. Their last couple of games, they just barely beat the Saints this past week. They lost to the Packers. They barely beat the Bears, barely beat the Chargers. Yeah. They haven't looked very good.
I say you could say 3-1. Could be 0-4.
Could be 0-4.
If things go some other ways.
If the ball bounces a different way, they could have lost their last 4 games, but they haven't. They're 9-3. Their next games are in Chicago, a team they almost lost to in Detroit, hosting the Broncos. That'll be a good one. In Minnesota, in Dallas, and then hosting the Vikings again. Like,
see, I'm gonna go. I think that is an overreaction that Packers make the playoffs, win the division. I should say
win the division, sure.
win the division, and it's only because of that remaining Lions schedule, and it's the Minnesota Vikings twice.
Yep.
We've got. I mean, it came out just yesterday or like later last night. They didn't know who was starting, or it wasn't announced. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that that's how bad Dobbs has played from Cinderella story Dobbs, it's just the best story in football. Yeah. That's how quickly it goes, man. What have you done for me lately, league? Mm-hmm. You were great, and now you're dog shit, and we want you out of here. We want Jaren Hall rookie, and if he's bad, we'll just keep rotating. Right, and at the end of the day, when that breaks both your confidence, we don't care. We'll move on. And that's how fans are, but it's like, well, if that's the case, if Minnesota doesn't figure it out, if they have dysfunction, maybe they came back to reality a little bit after a 5-game win streak, after a major injury, emotional highs after Kirk's down to win a couple games, go, man, we're not out of this. I don't know. It might be coming crashing back down. And I think both those games for the Lions are huge, especially with an opportunity against the Bears in there as well. I just don't know if there's enough games for Green Bay to come back. I will say they split, though, so I don't know what the tiebreakers will come down to eventually.
Probably come down to a division record.
And I think that would be, Detroit's only loss.
Right now, Detroit is 2-1 in division. Green Bay's 2-2. So
yeah.
It's close.
If Detroit, yeah, exactly. So I just think the Lions, the Vikings and the Bears being left remaining on that Detroit schedule makes the Packers winning the division an overreaction.
Okay, all right. Colin.
Yeah, to make the playoffs, not overreaction.
No, I agree.
To win the
They're
division,
holding a spot.
I'm going to lean as well, slight overreaction just because of who they have to come and the ground they have to make up. But no denying that they've looked like a completely different team in the last 3 weeks than they have the previous 5
Agreed.
before that.
Jordan Love has looked real good.
Yeah.
They're looking dangerous. And based off that schedule, you just told me who they have left and how they've been playing up until this point with who they have left. I think they easily can make that 7. I mean, that 7 and even the 6 seed.
6 seeds. Minnesota at 6-6. Green Bay 6-6.
Yeah,
they're fighting for it.
I think they can make the playoffs fairly easily, win the division. I'm not there yet.
Not there yet. Okay, alrighty. Last one, another divisional one. This one's going to hurt Addison. Indianapolis Colts winning the AFC South. Currently 7-5, 1 game behind Jacksonville, who did just lose Trevor Lawrence for at least a couple of weeks with the high ankle sprain. 4-game winning streak for the Colts. I don't think I realized that they were on a 4-game winning streak. Yeah. They were dead. They were 3-5.
Pretty sure their last loss is the Browns.
Yeah.
Who was robbed.
Well, they were robbed in that game. They could be literally on a 6-game or a 5-game winning streak, but 4 games in a row. Their last 5 games of the year, they have Cincinnati without Joe Burrow, Pittsburgh without Kenny Pickett, Atlanta, Las Vegas, and then they end with Houston in Indy, and Indy beat Houston in Houston in week 2 of the season. I think the Colts are going to win their stinking division. I think the Jags are in trouble after this Monday night loss and we're losing Lawrence because their defense could not stop Jake Browning. Could not stop Jake Browning and Jamar Chase at all. Indy's rolling. They have a favorable schedule. They might win 11 games. They might go 11-6. Who said that at the beginning of the year? Not a fucking person. I mean, they've won. So I think they win 4 of these next 5. I do. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Houston. I think at least 4. I think 4. I really do. Colin, I feel like you're leaning overreaction.
I don't know, because I want to see the severity of Lawrence's injury. I know it's an ankle sprain.
High ankle sprain.
What does that tell me? Is he going to play against the Browns this weekend?
Peterson made it seem like it was potentially possible. I think there's no chance.
I think he misses at least 2.
Is he just going to miss 1 game, and play?
Yeah.
How long is Lawrence
Is it grade 1 or 2? Because if it's a grade 2 high ankle sprain, I saw something that could be 6 weeks.
Could be 6 weeks.
If it's the worst case scenario, so it's like.
And depending how it's tough because I do love the Colts. They're a fun team to root for.
They are.
Gardner Minshew is one of the most likable guys in the league.
Agreed.
How do you hate Gardner Minshew?
You can't dislike him. You just can't.
I like everything Shane Steichen's doing as a rookie head coach, first-year head coach. But I could see them going a couple of ways with those games. I mean, Atlanta is a coin flip, in my opinion, between them and the Colts.
Yeah.
Who else did you say?
Cincinnati this week. The way they just played.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's a coin flip.
Raiders. And then Texans.
And Texans. I mean, they're all coin flips.
Raiders
now. I think they'll beat the Raiders.
You never know.
Never know.
I mean, new coach revenge from last year.
I'm going to lean a slight overreaction because I think even with Jacksonville still having a game lead, even if Lawrence misses a game or 2, they still have that potential to outlast the Colts in the last, home stretch here of the season.
Okay.
I hate to go overreaction in all 3.
That's okay. That was the point. I wanted it to be overreacting to things.
I'm going to go, sadly, underreaction. I think this is right. I think this is right because I'm going to have to do the Gangnam Style for a minute. when they make it. So please tune into that on the YouTube.
Yes.
I'm going to look like a dumbass. But
Oh, it's
because
gonna
I
be
said that,
awesome.
they're making the playoffs.
Yep.
They're winning the division too. But I almost look at it from, this is an opportunity for the Colts, I think, to sort of screw Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
I was talking to Bobby about it, and obviously great to win games in a season you don't think that there was anything there. I mean, you're 7-5 with a game to be 8-5 right in front of you. With if they win against the Bengals, I don't want to say knocks them out, but almost does. That's a strong grasp on the playoffs for the Colts right there. If it's not just a division, but I still think they could, especially if Lawrence is out. And the way the Jags have looked throughout the year, there's just not a lot of confidence there to consistently get it done. And the Colts, at the end of the day, are riding high right now. We'll see if it comes crashing down. Just the point back, though, about Richardson, when the Colts make the playoffs this year, God forbid win a playoff game, and then Anthony Richardson is the starter next year, and they win 5 games, what is the fan base going to be saying? We're all right with the guy practically having his rookie year while the whole team takes a step back and gets a year older? Or is this now putting Anthony Richardson in the shoes of there's immediate success needed from you, man? We can't have a year of you not taking a massive leap throughout the season and becoming great, arguably. And obviously that's a good thing. You rather have that problem than not. And it's good to win now, but I just look at that 7-5 Colts team and potentially a playoff team. And I think division winner, since we're talking about it, I just don't know what that's going to do for Rich. I mean, that's a good thing. And if he steps in is great, even better.
Awesome.
I just look at the future and go, man, that's an opportunity for the fan base to turn on that guy real quick. Because we made the playoffs with Gardner Minshew.
You're not better than Minshew.
We played you're so much better talent, all this, and yet we're losing. Well, you suck.
Yeah.
And it's like, who knows with everything else that goes on, all the bullshit of the actual game. But I think Colts can do it. I just think the AFC South is wide open, and their schedule has got a lot of potential wins.
Right,
a lot of potential wins.
And they're hot.
Yeah.
I will say they had a big weekend, and you hate to have injuries, nice, but Lawrence and Christian Kirk both hurt.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk probably has a hernia. He has to have surgery. That's at least a couple of weeks. Trevor Lawrence, even if they rush him back, he's coming back hobbled.
Yeah,
and one of his best things is off time where he can take off. He's fast. Man. He's quick. That's huge. And then Tank Dell's done for the year. That's a stud receiver for Houston that is now out. It's just things are kind of falling the Colts' way right now, and they're 7-5. I do think they're not a lock to make the playoffs, but damn near a lock to make the playoffs, which makes me so happy.
I mean, I'm checking on FanDuel, and they're minus $1.80, so it's like 180, and it's like, come on, man, stop.
Yeah, they
just choke.
And Jacksonville's schedule, they've got some tough ones. They have to go to Baltimore coming up too. Losing to Cincy was huge. They go to Cleveland this weekend, which is a tough game. They host the Ravens. They go to Tampa Bay, host the Panthers, and go to Tennessee. So they'll win their last 2 games, but this 3-game stretch here at Cleveland, hosting the Ravens, and then going to Tampa Bay, who's fighting for their lives. Those are tougher games.
The only
especially
hope
with C.J. Beathard at QB.
You're not wrong.
C.J. Beathard at QB.
Ugh.
He's stinky.
I'm taking your pregnant wife at QB against Tampa Bay, and they're all in that game.
They're bad. Tampa Bay's bad. In fact, they
bad.
Almost lost to Carolina. Horrendous.
That's true. Good point.
I will say, just looking at the rest of the Colts schedule, we've talked about it. I could see multiple wins here, but I could see 1-4.
Same.
I could see 1-4, but I could also see 4-1.
Yep.
Which scares the shit out of me.
It's gonna be 50-50.
Gangnam style, opal Gangnam style.
Oval Gangnam style, baby. That's gonna be electric.
I'm sick to my stomach, man.
But those
that will be the most viewed video on this show.
It will be, no doubt. Well, probably from me alone. I will watch it 500 times, I think. I will just have that running on loop as I drive to work every day.
I'm sick.
I can't wait.
Just hitting a little.
I'm sick, man.
Turn it back.
Yep. Replay. I can't wait.